So I'm on the BJJ Fanatics website, and I see 3 new videos by some guy named Thomas Radzinski. You familiar with that guy at all?
Nope, absolutely not.
No? Well, he's got some good stuff. Three brand new videos. They're getting amazing reviews, which is good to see as well. But you got to tell us about him real quick?
Yeah, I had, you guys already know, but I had opportunity to go to Boston, shoot 3 more instructionals, 1 on butterfly hook, complete guide for butterfly hook, 2 wrap, lapel, and submit them, and 3 we have taking the back. It's particularly designed for guys for over 40 because there's no climbing involved. All the back takes are on the ground. Very, very full and effective system. So dip into it. I'm really hoping that this is going to help your jiu-jitsu and really take it to the next level.
BJJfanatics.com. Just search ROZDZ. We have all had that situation where after class is when we want to ask a question. And Thomas, a lot of those questions you've already answered, right, at Ask a Black Belt.
Yeah, it's another podcast that I'm running. It's on podcast, all podcast platforms, plus on YouTube. You can find it anywhere. Just search for my name. Search for Ask a Black Belt. At this point, over 100 episodes, different questions, jiu-jitsu, life-related, but something that everybody comes across, and often these questions sink in our mind, but we don't ask for whatever reason. So if that benefits you, go there, listen. It actually might help your jiu-jitsu, might help your life as well. And if you have any questions, find me on Instagram and drop me a line. I'll be happy to answer your question and mention your name during the episode.
Welcome to Raw Radio.
Live.
Yo.
I didn't clap. 1 second.
Sorry.
One more time.
No, we can't. You know what's funny about that? Screwed up the clap in Edgar's episode.
I did.
Left it in. Yeah, you were like, and we're live. Clap. And then you're like, oh no, and we're live.
This new thing is messing with me, okay? Like it's well, in some way, yeah. I mean, the change was needed. We needed to upgrade what we do, and the quality is clearly visible. I am enjoying, the way how the podcast is being heard, and I hope you guys appreciate it too, as you're listening to this. Excuse me. So give us a feedback. I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know.
I got to see what it looks like, and we haven't.
Well, yeah,
the audio's out for Edgar, but not the video yet.
Yeah, the video will come out. I mean, it's all good. I mean, by the time you're listening to this, the video is already out on YouTube. But anyhow, these are good changes, but changes introduce new process, and it is what it is. So we're seeking feedback. If you're listening or watching this, let us know. Drop comments. I always want to hear.
Cap locks. You suck.
Listen, we've had some interesting comments in the past, and good ones and bad ones, and it is what it is. I keep saying I love doing this, so we'll keep doing it. Anyhow, we had our own and only Edgar on the show.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about having your own instructor on the podcast?
I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah,
Edgar's great. It's funny. Right? As soon as he walked through the door today, I was making fun of him. And that's when you walked in and you thought we were making fun of you.
About me, yeah.
I got him so good, he was laughing at himself. I don't know what angle you're approaching that on, my instructor or like having somebody super local on. Either way, it was a really good, fun episode. And, we've had guys who are known around the world, and the episodes are not that great, put it mildly. And so, you have somebody who just left his regular career or, a traditional career, let's say, to become a full-time instructor. And I think that makes for a much better episode than, the guy that lives up until this point or that point has lived, breathed jiu-jitsu and nothing else.
Well, I think every conversation has interesting parts of it, right?
Yeah.
Some of them are more entertaining than others, and I do agree with that we had some guests that were less entertaining than others, but I do think that every episode I try to find a little golden nugget, as something that I learned, something that gives me a little nudge. That's something I didn't know prior to that conversation. So I think it's all about perspective how we look at this. But one of the funny or interesting things was the 3-year contract, huh? Jesus Lord.
Yeah. So whenever I play anything from the podcasts for Margaret, she's like, I could just see her deflate. She's like,
Listen, I'm going to put this out there. If you're listening to this and you're under 3-year contract in jiu-jitsu, you message me on Instagram, I'm going to give you access to Roll TV. Okay, I'm just going to give it to you.
You got to show us the contract.
I'm just going to give it to you.
Like, if you're not buying a car or a house, you're not, why are you signing anything for 3 years? This was a long time ago. I don't know if anybody else is still doing that.
No, listen, there are still places that do contracts. And I mean, we've talked about this on the air. We remove contracts at Roll Academy. They're not existent. There's no commitments whatsoever here. And we see value behind it. We want you to be here because you want to be here, not because you're tied up in an agreement, legal binding agreement that you signed. However, there is still plenty of academies out there who do it that way, and they are successful with it. So who are we to judge? To each their own, I suppose, right?
No, the judgment comes from your wife. When you come home and say, contract.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, I played that part for Margaret. She busted out laughing. One of those laughs where there's not even any audible. She's can't breathe. I didn't even ask her, like, what if I would have done that?
You would be dead. You would be dead.
Well, she probably wouldn't have ever really noticed because it was funny. I have this old bank account that that was my jiu-jitsu account. I never got rid of it when we got together, and I just had it, and like $100 a month or something like that out of my direct deposit.
Oh, it just automatically gets dumped in there?
Yeah, and then so it was like, you know what? I'll use that for the jiu-jitsu, because the only other thing I would use it for is like we'd buy something.
Yeah,
we would just buy something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll use that for the jiu-jitsu. So she never really saw anything coming out of our joint account. It was just like that money never existed. So if you ever are looking for a way to pay for things without your significant other knowing, and you're young and you're not married or settled down,
please don't give this advice. Please
just
don't.
A card that nobody knows about, so that when they throw you out, you'll be able to buy a couch and you'll be able to, all that stuff.
So much for transparent communication between spouses.
She knew I had it. She just didn't know how much was in it.
No, I'm talking about your advice to others.
Oh, yeah. Keep everything to yourself. Always have a strategy, a backdoor
exit strategy. Oh my god, you are ridiculous.
I heard something good earlier today, and I don't know what we're talking about.
Just keep going. Yeah, it's good.
But it was somebody told me that they had just gotten married, and I said, did you get a prenup? And they said no, and I said, you will next time.
You are so rude and mean. Lord.
I didn't say I said it. I just thought it was funny.
I think what was cool about conversation with Edgar and like talk about different life lessons and different things that you take away, is the fact that he didn't have an opportunity to train in one place. He actually, because the direction that his life took him, he had a diversity of instructors. He has a diversity of academies. He changed jobs several times throughout his tenure of jiu-jitsu, if you will, his path, but the life took him in different directions. And despite what the location was, despite what the obstacles was, he still continued training. Mm-hmm. He still continued training. And I think at times we find ourselves in these tough spots in life where we have to make choices. And at times, jiu-jitsu is the sacrifice that we make, simply because we feel that we don't have a choice to continue. Mm-hmm. Whether the academy is too far away or the schedule doesn't work, or, from perhaps a financial, obstacles or limitations. There could be many things that could happen, but we simply let it go. And I'm curious what are your thoughts on this, because you are in the front office. You do run the department here at Academy with the team to make sure that the entry points and the exit points are, buttoned up where they need to be. Mm-hmm.
I often feel like I feel bad. Like I feel sad that people leave jiu-jitsu because they don't see the opportunity to continue. And often, and I don't know, and this is what I want to chat with you about. Like, me personally, I feel that if jiu-jitsu is important enough to you, that you will find a way. Or am I just stubborn on this because this is what I do?
Well, you said something telling, right? If it's important enough to you, and for some people it's not important enough, and you have to show them why it should be. Um, I mean, I've talked to people all over the place, people who haven't come in, who have signed up and left for a number of reasons, people who give you reasons to not come in, right? People who, I had somebody that I talked to very recently who you go through the note history. This person was here years ago, and they gave you the same reasons then that they just gave me, whether it was price or schedule or, you're interested, you're looking for something, right? In your life, you have to make some sacrifices. And if that sacrifices time, if that sacrifices money, if that sacrifices the Oreos at night, whatever it is, you have to be willing to make. You have to make the thing that you're seeking out the priority. And by that, I don't mean it takes the place of your family or your job or anything like that. But you just have to shift things around enough so that you can include it.
Yeah.
And you can prosper in it. And it's not that hard. There's plenty of, how many people say, I don't have time for, and then they sit on their phone and play candy. We have the new camera. I don't know where. They sit on they sit on Candy Crush, or they sit on social media. They sit and there's an hour.
It's not even that. So I get what you're saying, but I think we can even take this deeper. Like this whole reasoning of I don't have time. It is such an interesting topic in my opinion because.
Well, look,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was about to say that it's all about priorities because like you can be on your phone, you can, but also a lot of times we'll sit down and we'll simply sit on the couch and watch TV. We will go and play basketball game. We will go and hang out and have a beer with our friend. We will, I don't know, work. How many of us find ourselves in a spot when we sit down, we get home, we pull the laptop out and we work, right? So it's like, it's not that you don't have time. It is that it's not important enough. I often, like, I did ask a black belt on this, the other podcast that I do, check it out there, but it's self-vlog, by the way. But it, all right, I screwed that one up. Anyway, but I did record a couple of episodes about priorities and how it's structured, and how are we prioritizing things in our life. And oftentimes we come to, is not what is more important to us, but oftentimes what gives us the instant satisfaction.
There is that, but I also believe that in this country, we prioritize things that force us to not get enjoyment out of life. We prioritize keeping up with the Joneses. We are told from the time we're born to work hard, to do this, to do that, but we're not told to find something we love. We're not told to make that a priority. You can find something you love, but that has to come secondary to your job. It has to come secondary to the house that you're supposed to have, like everybody else's, the kitchen, the car, the whatever. Don't take any vacations, right? You're lazy if you're taking vacations, if you're taking your sick days, but if you do all those things, guess what? You're happy. Edgar talked a lot about happiness. Jiu-jitsu makes him happy. His family makes him happy. What does he do? Well, then he did for a long time have a job and the hours he didn't like. However, it did give him a lifestyle where he could pursue jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And
I think the happy is more in the quotes than anything else, because you will ask the population that we are surrounded by, and then many of them will tell you that the house makes them happy, the new car makes them happy, the promotion makes them happy.
That goes back to that instant gratification.
Exactly, and this is what this is why I highlighted that, because it is what satisfies us at this moment. We
Yep.
don't look ahead. We don't look where we're going to be 10 years from now. We don't look the fact that you actually, like, I'm a huge fan of actually having my own thing. Like, like, family is great. And there's that facts are coming in there that I love my kids. Like, it's just, it is what it is. I love hanging out with the boys. At the same time, there's time where I don't want to be there. I want to be by myself on the mat. I want to go through the struggles of being on the mat.
Yeah.
I want to stimulate myself.
Yeah.
I want to, and same thing at home. Like, I love reading. I want to read a book. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone.
Right.
I want to read a book because that's what a quiet time of self-reflection, like that.
And what happens when you have those times and you take those times? When you have time with others, it's better.
Absolutely, because now it becomes quality. Right.
Yes, and that's part of what I was talking about earlier. Is we have all these things that we're supposed to do that really don't afford us quality. Right? When you die, you can't take it with you. What you can take towards the end, if you're still lucid, is all of those memories.
Well,
if
and
you're
I
lucky enough.
And I think more importantly, you leave the memories with the people who you are with, right? So it's like passing the baton almost.
Yeah,
right?
we brought it up in the episode. He's, one of us said to him that, he's going to look back and he's going to see all these great things he did with his kids on the mats and the time that they shared. They were together.
Yeah.
And then that's going to trickle down from his kids to his grandkids.
Yeah.
And that to me, that's the important stuff. It's great if you have that house, but if all you're doing is working to drive into the driveway and go inside and go to sleep, well, what is it worth, really?
And I think this is the important part. There's nothing wrong with having a house or having a nice car or having things that you worked hard for.
Nobody knows about.
However, when you are not able to enjoy them, what is the purpose of having them? And I think this is where,
if you got a really nice boat and it sits in your driveway, what's the point?
Listen, I know people who have a lake house and they don't use it.
Right.
They have, maybe not a boat, but they have cars. Like, I know one particular person who I think he has 4 or 5 cars. Like, he does, but he doesn't drive them. It's just the satisfaction of having them. And I don't know if that's equality. I don't know if that's, at least for me. To each their own. I suppose we all different humans, and that's what makes this world so interesting.
People have been writing about this shit for thousands of years.
Oh, I know.
So there's got to be something about it.
I know.
There's got smarter people than us have talked.
No shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I tend to side with those people because listen, when I worked 15 hours a day and I was miserable at work, I was miserable when I got home. And
no, listen, you and I, we had many conversations at, before you start working at Roll Academy, but listen, there's times, and this is not particularly to you, but just in general, like, as an instructor, seeing faces coming in and out, it is almost predictable whether you had a good day or not. The moment you walk into the academy, I can tell you if you had a good day or not. And whether you're a police officer, plumber, or a teacher, or whatever you do, politician, like, I can tell you if you had a good day or not. And I just wish that we all had more of good days than bad days. It kind of brought me a years ago. This is really going to I believe I was a white belt. I know I was a white belt. It was at the very beginning. I don't even know if I had stripes, but I remember walked into the academy one day and I had a bad day and we went to rounds and Carlson Gracie Sr. pulled I don't remember if he pulled me off, but he was always sitting on the sidelines and he told me, come, sit. And I came and sat. And there was not much conversation with Carson because of the language limitation, but I remember he turned to me and he says, everybody has good days. Everybody has a bad days. Have more good days than bad days. Literally. And this was decades ago. And to this day, I remember it. And it's big part of, some of these quote unquote silly phrases that I use to keep going every day. So
Nice stuff. I'm trying not to make a joke. I just want to see
This
the
is
broken
neat.
English Thomas and the broken English. Trying to have a conversation in English. I would love to be there.
I think you know what, in our reality, I think that's what made it easy for me to communicate with the old man, because neither one of us really knew how to speak.
Yeah, you don't. There's no BS. You're not sugarcoating anything.
There was
You're
a
just- you
That
get-
was listen. For those of you out there who listen, who trained at Carson Gracie Senior back then, you know that, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a lot of hand gestures, there was a lot of poha, and there was just a lot of screaming. Okay, there was that's what it was. Okay, we all did it. We all been through it. You know, without dropping names, you know who you are, because there's not many of those guys left around Chicagoland area, but some of them are still there, and some of them are very successful, and good for you. But that was the beginning of all of this, so it's awesome to see that.
All right, cool.
Let's wrap this up.
All right.
Later.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.